Hey guys, welcome back, and in today's video we are going to be doing my 2026 NFL mock draft after week 7 of the NFL season. We're starting to get an idea on who is going to be at the top of the draft board, but there are some interesting scenarios that we haven't gotten to explore yet. So today we are going to be doing a one-round mock draft with the current draft order and going over that. But if you guys are new to the channel and you enjoy this type of content, NFL draft and college football, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. Lets me know you guys are enjoying the videos and helps get this video out to more NFL draft fans like yourself. Also, if you are interested in more NFL draft content from me, hit that link in the description below where you guys will have full access to my NFL draft guide. It's a one-time purchase of $20, but you get it for the rest of the cycle. It's constantly updating, consistently adding new players to the board. So if you guys do want more content, hit that link and be sure to subscribe to that. But guys, let's go ahead and kick this off with the number 1 overall pick, staying the same as it was last week in the New York Jets. And it's pretty clear they benched Justin Fields, which they probably never should have gone to Justin Fields, but nonetheless, here we are. They're going to take a quarterback. I don't really think that is in the questions. The question is which one. And right now, it is a three-way race for me between Mendoza, Moore, and Simpson. I still have Fernando Mendoza as my top quarterback in the class. I think he's got a better arm than both Simpson and Moore. I think he's just as accurate as both of them. I think he gets the ball out of his hands faster than both of them. His time to throw has been really, really good this year at, I want to say, almost 2.5 seconds. Ty Simpson still up at around 3. I think he holds on to the ball a little bit too long at times. Yeah, 2.57 seconds. He's coming off his best game of the year, in my opinion, against Michigan State. 21 touchdowns to 2 picks, 80% adjusted completion. Mendoza's got the size, he's got the NFL arm, and I think he would fit absolutely perfectly with this Jets offense. So Fernando Mendoza will be the pick at number 1. And then at number 2, now I think this has opened up because I have not gone quarterback a single time for the Dolphins throughout this entire cycle. I just haven't seen it as a real possibility until this week. The Dolphins decided it was time to bench Tua. It was the right decision, I think. He was awful this weekend against Cleveland. They're going to get rid of McDaniel. They're going to get rid of the GM. And they are going to bring in a new head coach, a new GM, and I think they're going to bring in a new quarterback. I don't want to scare Dolphins fans by going with the other Alabama quarterback, but I am going to take Ty Simpson because right now I think Ty Simpson is the second best quarterback in this draft class. Like I said, I think he's got a bit of a slower release at times, and so that does lead to him holding on to the ball for a tad bit longer than you'd want to see, but he has it all. He's the Heisman frontrunner. He's got really incredible accuracy, him calling out protections and recognizing coverages pre-snap. I think he's a very smart quarterback between the helmet. He is so smart. He's so cerebral, not to mention the arm talent, the velocity he can put on some of these throws. The touch passes, I think, are absolutely incredible. Ty Simpson, I have him going number 2 overall to the Miami Dolphins. Then at number 3, we got the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler is coming off his worst game of his season. I don't think that is really disputable right now. However, I'm not going to go with the quarterback. They took Tyler Shook in the second round. I think this team has bigger, more pressing needs. I'm going to go with Ruben Bain. Take the best player available. I think he's the best player in the draft class. He didn't have a great game against Louisville. There's no two ways around it. He didn't play very good, but this is still a top 3 player in this class. His size, his speed is exceptional. He wins with every pass rushing move that you want to see a pass rusher win with. He's got power, he's got bend, he's got great finesse moves as well. I really, really like Ruben Bain. I think he's an excellent player. I'm going to take him at number 3 overall. At number 4, we got the Tennessee Titans. Now, this is a very interesting pick because I typically go with a wide receiver here. I think Jordan Tyson is absolutely every bit worth the number 4 overall pick. Had another exceptional game this weekend against Texas Tech. He's who I'm leaning here, but the offensive line for the Titans has been an absolute disaster. It's been pretty bad. J.C. Latham has not developed the way you want to see. Kevin Zeitler has taken a pretty significant step back, I would say, from where he was last year in Detroit. They just are not getting good play from the offensive line. I don't really love a lot of the depth here. I don't love the tackles. Dan Moore hasn't been very good. So I think tackle is definitely in play here. You've got your pick of any of the tackles in this class. I still have Spencer Fano as my tackle one. Didn't have a great game against BYU. Struggled against Texas Tech, against two of the better defenses. Francis Mauigoa, I think, could be a really good fit as well. You know what? Let's change it up a little bit. We're going to go offensive line here for the Titans and go Francis Mauigoa. Repair him with Cam Ward, because when I look at this Titans team, they have to be able to protect their franchise quarterback. They are not doing that right now. I think Mauigoa can play right tackle for you. You can kick him inside. He can play guard for you. I think there's a number of different ways you can use him on your team, and I'm going to take him at number 4 to Tennessee. At number 5, we got the Baltimore Ravens. I think they go defense here, and I am going to go with Arvell Reese, the linebacker out of Ohio State. He is just putting up incredible tape week after week. Don't pay attention to the PFF grades. He has been exceptional this year. As a pass rusher, he's been awesome. He is making great plays as a run defender. He's one of the strongest players in this draft class, and he consistently is able to get off of blocks. They're able to dial him up as a blitzer, where he has been exceptional. 13 run stops on the year. He's not a great coverage defender, but I love what he can do as an instinctive downhill player. I think he is worth a top 10 pick. He is a top 10 player on my board. We're going to take Arvell Reese inside the top 5. At number 6, we've got the Cleveland Browns. And now this is where I think it gets really interesting for Cleveland, because I think quarterback is in play here. I am not really in love with what we've seen from Dylan Gabriel up to this point. I think he's been very up and down and inconsistent, to say the least. Even this past week in the win against Miami, he didn't really do all that much. But I still think the offensive line is such an important piece to building a team. And after this year, I don't think any of their starters are going to be back. They have the worst, I'm not going to say the worst, but they have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. I think Spencer Fano could fit this scheme really well with an athletic tackle that can move in space. I really like that fit. And they went with a more undersized player last year on the defensive side in Mason Graham. That has paid off. They have shown they don't really care about the measurables. I think Spencer Fano could be a really good fit here. But I also think Jordan Tyson could be an excellent fit. And I think Dante Moore could be an excellent fit here as well. So I think I'm going to go with Spencer Fano here. It's a move that I haven't made here in this series so far. I've taken Mauigoa to the Browns, but I like Fano's fit. I think he can play tackle for you. And on top of that, their offensive line is a big need. I think it's a better wide receiver class. You can get value down the board. Quarterback, I think it's a deep enough class where you can get somebody later down the draft board. I think Spencer Fano is a top 10 player. I'll take him at number 6 to Cleveland, which I think makes the pick really easy here. At number 7 for the Raiders, I think you have to go Dante Moore. I think Dante Moore is right now playing really good football. Had an incredible game against Rutgers, where this is a Oregon team that put up 750 total yards of offense. So Dante Moore can do everything for you. He can get the ball out of his hand quickly. I think he's a good athlete. I think he's accurate with the football. I think a lot of people overreacted to his performance in the Indiana game, where I didn't even feel he was that bad. This is still a top 10 pick worthy quarterback. I think he would be a really good fit here. So we'll take him at number 7 to the Raiders. At number 8, we got the New York Giants. I think they're sprinting the card in to take Jordan Tyson. When you watch this team, they have Malik Neighbors, I know, but I don't love the wide receiver depth on this team whatsoever. Jordan Tyson is an absolute superstar, can win over the top with vertical speed. He can run exceptional routes. I think he is maybe the second best route runner in the draft class, and this is a guy that I think could be an X. I think his skill set complements Malik Neighbors perfectly. I think he's got the size, the athleticism, and the speed to be a number 1 receiver and a true blue chip receiver in the league. So I'll take Jordan Tyson at number 8. At number 9 for the Cardinals, I am so sorry, Cardinals fans. I wanted to find a way to get either Mauigoa or Spencer Fano. I know that Cardinals fans really want a right tackle. And you could go Caden Proctor. But I talked about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Proctor could play guard for you. He could be a people mover. But for a guard that is 6'7", I don't have any issues with that. I have an issue when your quarterback can barely see over the offensive line. I just don't really like the fit. I know a lot of people are liking Jennings Dunker as a potential first rounder. Look, I'll just say this. I'm not quite there on Jennings Dunker as a first rounder, but he's a guy that has moved up my board pretty significantly. I've got him right in that second round range, so I could see that potentially being a move here, but with the way the board has fallen, I'm probably going to end up going with Mekhi Lemon. This is a pick that I really love. I just haven't been in love with what we've seen from the skill positions here. Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Mekhi Lemon, like they've got pieces. Do they have a guy that I think could be the standout number one? Well, now I think they do. I think Mekhi Lemon can be that type of a player for you. I love Mekhi Lemon as a prospect. I think he is an upgrade over Greg Dortch in the slot. So we're going to go Mekhi Lemon at number 9. At number 10, we just talked about him. This will be the Caden Proctor pick. This is such a tough one because I do think Caden Proctor makes a lot of sense for them. You get a guy that can play offensive line. I think it is an absolute necessity. But Peter Woods is just sitting there on the board. I don't think Houston's got enough draft picks. We're going to change it on the fly here. We're going to go Peter Woods because when I watch this Houston team, one, they have struggled against the run at times this year. They've been, I think, overall solid, but this is a team that just hasn't really prioritized interior defensive line. They don't have a lot of young up-and-coming prospects that I love. Peter Woods is still a top 5 player in the class for me. I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to go with a very good football player at number 10, and that is Peter Woods. And that makes this pick at number 11 pretty simple. We're going to go Caleb Downs to the Bengals. I don't love their safety situation. I haven't loved it since Jesse Bates left. Caleb Downs is the best safety prospect that we have seen in quite some time. He can do it all for you. This team needs help on the defensive side of the football, and I think Caleb Downs can provide you that type of help that this team is so desperately in search of. So we're going to go with Caleb Downs at number 11. At number 12, we got the Washington Commanders, and a very tough team to draft for right now because I think this team could go with the receiver. I think that with Carnell Tate being on the board, that could be a really good fit. Very similar kind of to Terry McLaurin as a prospect. He has jumped up my board pretty significantly. He is now a top 20 guy in the class for me. I still think pass rush is a big need for Washington. Dorrance Armstrong now out for the year. You could go with the corner, but with the way this board has fallen, again, I like the receiver values on day 2. This team doesn't have a second round pick though, which makes this a little bit more difficult. I think you can get a good edge rusher on day 2. Because if we're looking at like day 2 prospects, okay, I have LT Overton as a day 2. Joshua Josephs, Mateo, Gabe Akis, Anthony Lucas, Zion Young. I think you get good value here on day 2. So I'm going to go with Carnell Tate here. It's showing the lack of depth in this receiving room. I don't think Debo is a long-term solution. I believe his contract is up after this year anyways. You've got Terry McLaurin who's been battling injuries. I don't really trust Luke McCaffrey to be a long-term starter for this team. And outside of that, like they got Noah Brown as a Band-Aid veteran. I don't like the receiving room. I think it's a very good edge rusher class. You can get excellent players. But Carnell Tate is a very good receiver that I think is worth this draft pick. It worked the last time this team took an Ohio State receiver. And McLaurin has been an awesome player. But we're going to take another one and go Carnell Tate at number 12. At number 13, we got the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be the second edge rusher off the board. I think this team could go with TJ Parker or Keldrick Folk. It kind of depends on scheme. Based on what Matt Eberflus runs, I think Keldrick Folk is the better option of the two. So I'm going to go with Keldrick Folk because I love his size. He is just an absolute animal. 6'6", 270 pounds. I think that he can do a little bit of everything. He's an excellent run defender. The pass rush has been excellent as well. He's got 20 pressures on the season with 2 sacks. The sack numbers have taken a bit of a dip down this year from where they were last year, but I still think Keldrick Folk is a very good football player and is worth going with at number 13. At number 14, we have the LA Rams. I love the idea of going offensive line here. I think Caden Proctor could be a very interesting fit for this team. I know we've looked at this a couple of times. Like, you've got Steve Avila. Who do the Rams currently have starting for them at the other guard spot? Because Caden Proctor is a move that we haven't gone with often for the Rams, but he's been playing really good in SEC play. Had a good game against Tennessee, was great against Georgia, great against Vandy, played well enough against Missouri. I'm very interested in potentially taking him to the Rams because they've run a lot more power rushing over the last couple of seasons, which I think is something that they could tap into. You got Kevin Dotson there, you got Steve Avila, and Coleman Shelton as your center. You got Alaric Jackson. Like, I don't love the offensive line depth on this team, but I think it's a bit early to go with depth. So we're going to wait on that, and maybe he's available for us at 23. I think that would be more reasonable. But I'm going to go with a corner here at number 14. It's going to be Mansour Delane, coming off another ridiculous performance against Vanderbilt. He has just been the most consistent coverage defender in college football this year, allowing under a 30% completion rate when targeted. The Rams, I like some of the pieces you're getting, but I think you can elevate the floor of this secondary. I think Mansour Delane is absolutely worth taking here. At number 15, we got the Vikings. I think we're going to go secondary again for the Vikings here. Isaiah Rodgers didn't have a good day. I'm going to go with Jermod McCoy. I think that corner is still a position that this team has to address long term. Isaiah Rodgers has had a pretty good season for the most part, but you've got to get some youth in this room, and you've got to get some really high upside players. Jermod McCoy is still my number one corner in the class, despite not having played a snap this year. I think that's how special of a player he could potentially be. I'm a big fan of his tape. I think he's a great football player. We're going to go with Jermod McCoy at 15. At number 16 for the Carolina Panthers, we're going to take TJ Parker out of Clemson, get some size, get some power in this pass rushing room. Look, I like what we've seen from guys like Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen, who's more of a designated pass rusher. Continue to add to that room. I like TJ Parker quite a bit as a prospect because, yeah, he might not have the deepest pass rushing bag, but I got beat by Jared Verse with this because he can win with power. That is what he does so well. I'm a big fan of his traits and all he does. So we're going to take TJ Parker at number 16. At number 17 for the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking like they're on another level right now, and they're going to go with Jeremiah Love. I know some Chiefs fans don't love this pick, but I don't know how you can consistently watch this team in their run game and be like, yeah, this is a guy that I want to take, or I feel confident with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Jeremiah Love is just one of the best running back prospects of the last decade. I mean, he's not on a Genty, Bijan, Saquon tier, but he's like right below it. I think his speed element is dangerous. And in an offense like this, I think Jeremiah Love could absolutely feast. So we're going to take him at number 17 at Kansas City. At number 18, we got the Bears. Their defense is playing really well right now. I do think they would have easily gone with Jeremiah Love. I think it's a bit early to go with any of these other running backs. So ultimately, I do think this team goes more towards the defense. Adding pass rushers, I think, is great. David Bailey's going to be my pick. Get a guy that can just be a designed, designated pass rusher, if you will. Montez Sweat's playing well. You got Dayo Odengbo, who is more of that traditional 4-3, hand in the dirt edge. David Bailey is not like that. He is more of a stand-up speed rusher that I don't think this team has really ever had. So David Bailey, a player that I absolutely love, is going to be my pick here at number 18. At number 19 for the Chargers, I think they would consider going with an edge rusher like Cassius Howell, Romello Height. Both those guys make sense, but I'm actually going to go with Caden Proctor here. Take a guy that can play guard for you. The interior of this offensive line this past weekend against Indianapolis got absolutely destroyed and dominated by DeForest Buckner. They have so many issues on this offensive line right now, and I think Caden Proctor, he's playing tackle for Alabama. He is going to be a guard at the next level despite being 360 pounds or whatever he is. This team has Mekhi Becton on this team already, who is a bigger guard that hasn't been able to stay healthy. Proctor, I think, elevates that a little bit. I think he's a step above even where Mekhi Becton was, at least right now. He's playing really good football. I love what he can do in the run game. And we know Harbaugh has really tried to tap into the design run stuff. So, yeah, we're going to go with Caden Proctor to the Chargers at number 19. And number 20 for the Cleveland Browns, interesting spot. Again, quarterback is where I think a lot of people's minds are going to go. Lenore Sellers just is not playing like a first-round quarterback right now. If any team is going to take him, it'll be the Rams at 23. But outside of that, I can't justify going his way. Garrett Nussmeier had a good game against Vanderbilt. Again, do I want to take Garrett Nussmeier at number 20? Not really. I know some people like John Mateer. I have not been loving the way he's played the last couple of weeks. So if I can get to day 2 with this Browns team, and I can take either Sam Levitt, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Darian Mensah, who is way down here. He has been really, really good this year. I'd consider that, but I'm not going to take it in the first round. Instead, I know we went offensive line with our first pick. I wouldn't hate going offensive line again here, going like Isaiah World, getting our bookend tackles, but we are going to go with a skill position player, likely going to be a receiver. I'm taking Chris Bell out of Louisville. I think Chris Bell is playing at a first-round level at the wide receiver position. He is 6'2", 220 pounds, and he's making excellent plays in space. I am really impressed with what he's been able to do. It's not the sexiest first 2 picks for Cleveland, but you're getting 2 really good football players at 2 big positions of need. So we're going to go with Chris Bell at number 20. At number 21 for the Buffalo Bills, I'm going to take C.J. Allen. I think C.J. Allen is honestly underrated in this draft class right now. A excellent in-space, rangy defender. I think he's a great run defender, really good at sniffing plays out and screens, and he's an incredible athlete. I really like what he can do at the linebacker position. And Matt Milano, his contract's up after this year. The Bills have not had a lot of consistency from their linebacker room. And I think C.J. Allen is a first-round caliber linebacker. I'm very high on him as a prospect. We're going to go with him at number 21. At number 22 for the Seattle Seahawks, I think this team needs another pass rusher. I also think this team could go with another corner. They love to run some like zone coverages, off-man stuff, bring guys on blitzes. And so if I'm using that, keeping that in mind, I really like Chris Johnson out of San Diego State as a potential fit here. We're getting about halfway in the season. Like, this is where I think we can start talking a little bit more about fit. Avion Terrell, Colton Hood, they are more physical man coverage defenders, press guys. Chris Johnson, I think, can give you a little bit more in terms of his zone instincts. I have Chris Johnson as a first to a second round grade on my board. I would definitely consider him in this range. But I'm not going to go with the corner here. I know we just talked a lot about a corner. I'm going to take a pass rusher. Give me Cassius Howell. This team needs a guy that I think can consistently get after the quarterback. They haven't really had that, and I think that's the missing piece of this defense. So we're going to go with Cassius Howell at number 22. I think he can be a difference maker for this Seahawks pass rush. They can find ways to get him going, and I think he could be a really good fit here. At number 23 for the Rams, I'm going to go with a tackle. We talked about it earlier. I'm taking Isaiah World. He's coming off an incredible game against Rutgers. He's allowed just 5 pressures on the season. He's held up very nicely this year. A guy that I had as my number 3 tackle in the class coming into the year that I think a lot of people have just kind of forgotten about, to be completely honest. Alaric Jackson, I'm not in love with. I know they got Rob Havenstein. He's getting up there in age. I think Isaiah World has the athleticism. I mean, he had one of the most incredible pull blocks you're going to see from a left tackle. He's a legitimate athlete with really good technique in his hands, his feet. I'm really high on Isaiah World. I'm going to take him at number 23. At number 24 for the Detroit Lions, I'm going to take Avion Terrell. I've liked this pick for a couple of weeks now because I just love what he can do for you from a coverage standpoint. He's so physical. He's so he does a lot of the little things. He's a great run defender. He's physical. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. And if I'm trying to put a guy in this defensive scheme with Dan Campbell, I think Avion Terrell just fits the scheme in terms of the way he plays the position. He runs a lot of man coverage, which is something that the Lions do just about more than any team in the league. So Avion Terrell, I think, will be a home run pickup here at number 24. At number 25 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, very interesting. I think they could go with a corner, take a guy like Colton Hood here who could be a great long-term option because I haven't loved what we've seen from the secondary as a whole. It's really old with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay. Safety and linebacker are the two spots where I'd love to go, but like my safety two, my safety two is Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but I just don't see him going in the first round. I think offensive line is also a pretty big need. Broderick Jones has not really developed the way I think Steelers fans were hoping. They've gotten good play from Troy Fautanu on the right side, but I'm going to take an offensive tackle here. We're going to go with Caleb Lomu. I just like the Utah tackles still. I think they're going to test really well. I think they've got sound technique. A couple of down performances are not going to deter me. I love his athleticism. I think he can be left tackle for you of the future. We're going to go with Caleb Lomu at number 25. At number 26, we're taking Kenyon Sadiq. Sadiq is a really hard player to figure out where he's going to go in this draft because I think he's got the talent to be a top 15 to 20 pick. I don't know if he's got the tape to be that just yet. He's getting better as the year goes on, which you love to see, but like, all right, let's go through like the 12 to 20 range. Like Dallas is at pick, I believe Dallas had pick 12. I think, all right, at pick 12, Washington could make sense. I don't think he makes sense to Dallas. I don't think he makes a lot of sense to the Chargers or to the Rams, excuse me. I don't know. Like the Vikings make the most sense out of these teams. Maybe the Chiefs. The Panthers, no to the Bears, no to the Chargers. Like, I don't know to the Browns. Like, I don't really love a lot of the fits. So he kind of just always seems to fall to the Broncos. And I'm sure Broncos fans are happy about that. But yeah, I think Kenyon Sadiq, with his blocking, his athleticism, he can be a difference maker. We're going to take him at 26. At 27, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go with Romello Height, take another edge rusher, get some speed next to Yaya Diaby, who's had a really nice season. But I think he needs a Robin to his Batman, and I don't even know if he's a Batman. Romello Height is just a really, really good speed rusher. He's got bend that is remarkable. He can win with his hands. He can win with power. He's a good run defender. I think he's flying under the radar. We're going to take him at 27 to Tampa. And number 28 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, tough team to really figure out where to draft for. I think edge, like they just brought out of retirement Brandon Graham. I don't think that's going to last the longest time. And like if I'm looking at that, like you want a Brandon Graham type, I like Quincy Rhodes as a player. 14.2% pass rush win rate at his size, which is 6'6", 275. He's not a great run defender. Like I think he's a fine run defender, don't get me wrong. But he's out of control at times, limited career production. You know what? We're going to take him here at 28 because I just think that's the type of guy Howie wants to go for. Traits-based player that has put up really good tape this year. He's got power. He's got a really nasty spin move for his size. He moves better than you'd think. I mean, there's not a lot of like negatives that I have to say about Quincy Rhodes. So we're going to take him at 28. At 29 for the Patriots. Now, an interesting one here because I would have gone with either Caleb Lomu or Caden Proctor here. I don't really love the linemen. Like I'm gonna watch another Jennings Dunker game this week. I'll probably watch him against Penn State. Maybe he'll move into the first round range. You know what? I'm looking at the board and like the receivers, receivers where I'm thinking of going for New England. And it would be Denzel Boston. He could be that true X, but you're getting really good play from Diggs. Pop Douglas is playing well. Kayshon Boutte's playing well. Like, do I need to go with the receiver in the first round? Probably not. The Patriots' second corner is an interesting one. I haven't really been tapped into what Carlton Davis has been up to. Connor Lew is unfortunately hurt and he's out for the year. I think that's going to hurt his draft stock. I think, we're going to go Jennings Dunker here at 29. We have not made this pick once in the entire series. Jennings Dunker was a guy I was incredibly low on coming into the year. And the more I watch him, the more I actually really like what he can do, particularly on the ground. He is an incredible athlete that I think could just clear guys in the run game. And for the Patriots, just continue to help this offensive line. I think he can be a left guard for you next to Will Campbell. I think he can play right guard. He can play right tackle for you. I think he can do a little bit of everything. I'm worried about him if he stays at tackle because I think his footwork needs some improvement. But at 29, I do like his fit, so we're going to take him to the Patriots. At number 30 for the San Francisco 49ers, I'm going to take another edge rusher. Again, the board really, there's some guys that are interesting. Sonny Styles, I think, could be in play for a couple of these teams. But I'm going to go with what did I say I was going to do? I completely blanked on what I said I was going to do. We're going to go with an edge rusher, and it's going to be R. Mason Thomas. I think adding a speed to power rusher next to Nick Bosa could be really interesting. Bryce Huff has played well. He's on IR, or not on IR, but he'll miss a couple of weeks. You got Mykel Williams. You got Bosa. I think R. Mason Thomas adds a slightly different element to this pass rushing room, so we'll take him at number 30. At number 31 for the Dallas Cowboys, in the first, they went Keldrick Folk earlier. I think corner, like Colton Hood, could be a really good fit. They play a lot of zone coverage. So, again, I think Chris Johnson could be a really good pickup here for them. On my board, for reference, I have Colton Hood and Chris Johnson as my number 5 and number 6 corners, or number 4 and 5, respectively. For fit, I'm going to take Chris Johnson here to the Cowboys because they play a lot more off coverage, zone type of stuff. They don't play a lot of press. They don't play a lot close to the line of scrimmage. So Chris Johnson's going to be my pick here. And then at 32, we kind of just talked about it. I'll take Colton Hood because I think the Colts need some secondary help desperately. They can seem to have another guy go down every week. Colton Hood, I think, can play on the boundary for this Colts team. Play physical. They can move him to the nickel if Kenny Moore's to miss time. He is lightning in a bottle, and I'm a very big fan of Colton Hood. But that's going to do it, guys. This mock draft was a lot of fun. Isaiah World's back in the mocks. Chris Bell's getting into the first round. Jennings Dunker. A lot of new names. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Who am I too high on? Who am I too low on? Leave a like. Subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.